key, which is right over here. So the first key we're not using because you don't have a part we need. Second key we do need, because that's what controls where this goes. When the key falls out, it doesn't work too good. Normally you have to beat the keys in the shaft, but in your case, you don't have to. So, keep on there where you belong, and just give it a light tap. Make sure it's all the way on. If you hit it too hard, you'll break it because it's hard metal. You can chip a tooth. This is left-handed thread, so you gotta make sure it goes on the correct direction. Now this is a Midwest nut in Midwest shafts. They appear to be fitting. Sometimes they don't fit very well. Oh. Just a special tool that tightens it.
Yeah, I definitely have it because I think you use that tool to loosen it, right?
I would have thought so. When it quits moving, it's tight. That means it's all the way on the taper. It's as big as it's going to get. Okay, now you spin the crank. You make sure the shaft is not wobbling, and make sure the gear is not wobbling also.
Looks pretty good.
Looks like they're going nice and straight true. That means that dumbass was beating on the end of the crank trying to get that brass in. They didn't knock it out true. Probably because they tightened the piss out of it when they put it together. You don't really like that, do you? Okay, so now we got ourselves a gear. We got timing marks and everything. So now we engage our gear on the correct mark, which in this case is way over here. It looks like there's a little dab of red paint right there, I can see. See right here?
Yeah. Lines up.
See that little mark right
Yeah.
there? There's a little bit of red, so it's probably red here. So we got a mark here, we got a mark over here for a breather, but we're not using the breather, we're using that.
The reed.
The reed deal. So I don't have to put anything in right now. So we do need our gasket over here. Our in place should be good. We're just checking our backlash and our teeth. Because as this gets bigger, it tightens the backlash. As this gets smaller, it loosens up our backlash. If this locks up the motor, then we got a problem. Usually if you have to beat this on the big hammer, it's tight. So this is not going on there very easily.
But that could be from the dowels too, right?
We're even down to the dowels yet. Sign. We had that problem before, remember? But this time all these screws are not lining up. Okay, there's our mark out again.
Oh, went further than it did before.
That it did. Oh, dumbass. Gasket's in the wrong spot. Gasket's hanging out the back side. Who did that? See all these bolts in here are causing problems. Okay, mark is still good. Put the gasket where it belongs this time. Now put it on for, how about, what are we up to right now on this one? On this mock-up, how far we got so far? That went pop. It didn't go all the way down. Okay, this is our thread that doesn't like going on. Always start with the one that does not want to go down. This one does. So we're not forcing it, we're just going down until it quits moving. What's up, Scooby? New cameraman, four-legged.
He came to crop dust me again.
Okay, so the cam does actually move.
Okay.
So that means it's not tight. So all of that extra work was not binding from the new pinning gear.
Just a snug fit.
It was just being the dowel pins don't like us.
Yeah.
Okay, now we see if the motor rotates. Noticeably more drag, which is not good. That's called pinion shaft drag. So we're going to have to open that up a little bit. Or do something to make it not drag. That's not runnable that direction. Now you take your finger, go like this in the gear and feel a backlash. Hear it?
Yeah.
Nothing there. No drag, but no backlash. Barely here, see that? So that means we got just the right size where it's tight, it's a little bit loose in other places, or we can go maybe one size bigger, max. That was a red gear. I think the red's number 4, I think. We can try a little bit bigger one, but that's probably pretty close. But the main thing is the shaft is binding inside that bushing.
So the bushing has to get opened up a little bit more?
Yeah, it has to be done something to make it not bind. The problem is when you line ream, you have no control of where that reamer goes through into the bushing at. So if the reamer drops down and goes under here, and the shaft wants to be up here in the crank, you put it on there, it binds.
Yeah.
And that's probably why the cover didn't want to go on, because it's binding on the pinion shaft. It's not the cam. The cam's fine. It's the pinion shaft it didn't like.
But by cycling it like that, you'll put
I'll
little
put a
wear.
mark on it.
Yeah, so you see where it needs to come down.
Now I have no lube on this at all, so it's doing what it wants to do. Now when the bind goes away, it might change our backlash and our teeth too. Right now we just know where we're at. So, now if I take this and loosen these screws up, see if it changed this any. Yeah, it got worse. It's even worse now, see?
Yeah.
It's not the cam. It's all about the pinion shaft. tight. Now the crank moves.
Didn't make any wear marks.
Not really. Marks on the shaft. Fits good on it. It's got just about a right amount of clearance. But it's tight. Remember your motor, we had some dowel pin issues. We had to move the dowels a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably causing some of this. But everything's a combination of everything else. Trying to fix it is the problem. So see the two high spots where it's hitting the drag?
Yeah.
So we're not hitting on the end of the nut because there's no marks on the bushing. It's all strictly at the alignment. So where is the alignment off? So you look at the holes for indication of binding that might be new versus old. So it's got a pretty heavy rub mark right there.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing over here at all. Nothing on the bottom. So it's all right here where my thumb is. It's where we're hitting on that side. So it wants to go to the rear. So right now it's too far forward. You go in this hole over here. Looks like it's on the bottom. And to this side a little bit. Nothing over here on the top or there. So this one wants to go too far back. So it's like this, cocked. If we try to knock it out in that direction, slightly downhill in that way, it might help us.
It wouldn't snap off.
It might break the case away,
But
is there a problem with that? And this one over here, it was too far to the rear, wasn't it? Well, the rub mark is on the back. So it needs to go forward also. So which way to go now? Not the wrong direction? No. They're both on the same side. Cover's too far back. Okay. Called cheating. See, ideally you want the cover just to drop down at this point. It obviously is not dropping.
I think it's that top, the top dowel.
That's when we put the new one in there, it was big.
Yeah.
Remember before it was loose? So this one here is the one that's tight. Not too hard, you break the whole case away, so gotta be careful. Front to back, see we got clearance. It's the up and downs where we're fighting. So one of those is not, well, one or both are causing problems right now.
I feel like it's that top one that we replaced.
That's what I'd start with. Like I said, we knew it was bigger.